The Mustang GT 5.0 California Special is a lot like the Avengers. Not the comic book, the movie. You've got the Incredible Hulk under this hood. You have got Thor the Thunder God screaming out of the back, and this body was clearly designed by Iron Man. And what is more American than the Ford Mustang? Other than the fact that the motor is made in Canada, and the transmission is from China. China. The transmission's from China. Whereas, once you get inside, you realize that there are two members of this team that are not quite as super. Just like Black Widow, it's a lot of leather covering mediocrity. And although the controls are precise, like the steering and the transmission, they're just good enough. Not quite super. Like Hawkeye. There you have it. The Avengers. Let me start off by saying, I like Mustangs. I don't really like to trash them, but Ford doesn't really give me a lot of reasons not to. To me, the Mustang is kind of like Robert Downey Jr. It doesn't matter how many drugs he does or how many times he goes to prison, I still like his movies. And Mustangs are kind of the same way. I may not always like the interior, the engine may not have enough horsepower or too much, but I still like the look of them, and I like the idea behind them. So first, what I don't really like about this car. One, it is just a bath of plastic and leather. I feel like a gimp in somebody's basement. I'm not a big fan of the faux carbon fiber dash that they've got going on. And they still put the 12-volt power plug right in between the air vents. Who's plugging in right there? Nobody, that's who. It plays a chime when you do anything. When you put the key in, when you take the key out, when you start it up, when you turn it off, when you open the door, when you close the door. I'm not a big fan of redundant controls where like you have a button on the radio, but you also have that same button on the touchscreen. I kind of want either or. I don't want both. Now, let me tell you what I do like about this car. This V8 is easily within the top 3 V8s that I love the most. It's number 2, actually. It's amazing. It makes a great sound. It gives you tons of power when you want it, and actually decent fuel economy when you don't. The ride in this, honestly, it's great. I thought it was going to be terrible. Having driven other Mustangs in the past, like the GT500, and I drove a 2012 5.0, I don't know what they did differently. I don't think they did anything differently outside of really, I think they made the seats, I think they just gave them more cushion. I would say that Ford has finally made a Mustang that the ride feels as good as the car looks, if that makes sense to you. But whereas the GT500 assaults you, this car accepts you. So, it looks great, even in an abandoned lot. It sounds good, and it finally rides comfortably. So would I own one? Honestly, no. Of course, now a car comes by. Yeah, I hate you too, buddy. And I know a lot of people probably hate the fact that I said no, but here is why. One, this particular model is 40 grand before it even hits the lot. And yesterday, I spent 10 minutes out front of a popular ice creamery that advertises multiple flavors. And within that 10 minutes, I had 23 people come up to me and give me compliments on the car. Now, before you just say, well, that's 23 new friends, they were all men, over 40, and were wearing some form of NASCAR apparel. So, take that into consideration before buying this car. But the one thing I have to give up to Ford for is the fact that they're sticking with the live rear axle. It kind of reminds me of Porsche. Everybody criticizes Porsche that the motor's in the wrong place, but it forces them to refine the car and make it an awesome driving machine. That's what they're doing here. Now, the flip side of that could also be that it's kind of like the iPhone, where like they don't really replace it with anything new until they've run out of all the old inventory. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But I will say this. It's a unique car, and nothing handles like a Mustang. Except for maybe a garbage truck. It's not true. Thanks for watching. Please like us, and as always, subscribe.